Hello and welcome back to another episode of A Conversation with James. Before I begin this week's episode, I do want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's downloaded the episode. Wherever you're listening to it around the world, I do appreciate it. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Today's episode, we've got a very special guest. He's an up-and-coming racing car driver in the Toyota GR Cup Series and the Australian Racing Series. And we're going to delve into that a little bit more. Someone who started out from 15 years old and really enjoying what he does. We're going to really find out what it takes to be a racing car driver. So let's get into the episode, hey? So, Jordan Freestone.
Esty, what's going on?
Not much, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Pretty happy after last night.
I know. Last night was pretty good, wasn't it?
Oh, mate. I've told, like I said, Luai, man, he's had a lot of doubters, and last night he just put them all to shame.
100%. For anyone that doesn't know what we were talking about, when this episode drops, we're talking about New South Wales finally winning a series decider in Queensland. Yeah. Hasn't been done for 19 years. So it feels pretty good, doesn't it?
Oh, mate. It's high off life at the moment. It's pretty good. Like, no Cleary. So Cleary's my favourite player to put out there. Cleary's he's the GOAT in my eyes. But to do it without Cleary, like the best player in the game at the moment.
100%.
And the Chom, which wasn't there last night either, but Bradman Best stood up, which was
amazing. What does that show about, like, you look at Luai, and I promise we're going to get into his racing career, but what does it show about Luai, like, for pretty much Cleary's been out for give or take the whole season, and Luai stepped up and carried the Penrith team that's lost a lot of players to other clubs to then go put him second or third and be on the brink of 4 straight premierships when everyone said it was Cleary's team and everyone else around him.
Well, this is Luai's year, really. So
it is.
Obviously signed that contract with West Tigers for $1 million, and everyone was doubting him. And to be honest, even I was like, like that's a lot of money if he hasn't really done much. But this year, man. Like
100%.
He's actually going to be a massive loss for us Panthers fans now. Cause at the start, I'm like, Tigers, you can have him. But now, man, I'm like, he's a huge loss. Like, he's carried us hard.
100%. And I was saying, like, I say to Dad, and I say to a lot of like my friends who are supporters, and I say to him, like, this is what Tigers needed. Okay, yes, like, when you throw $1 million at a player, all right, great. Like, go and prove it. But you saw what he did, like, and he does it quite regularly. Okay, he has Cleary, the best halfback, next to him. But when I watch Tigers, they don't have that halfback. They don't have that leader like they did back in 05, 06.
Quickly, if anyone doesn't know, Esty's a mad Tigers supporter. If you couldn't pick it.
I know. If you check out my socials, I post when we win and say nothing when we lose.
Esty falls off the post there.
It's but like, we haven't really had someone like that, Yeah. So, it's super exciting. It was good to see the win, and especially those Queenslanders go back into their caves a little bit.
From them, so
so rugby league aside, as you can tell, Geordie loves his footy, loves his sports. I mean, growing up, you did play soccer, but talk to me about you getting into your racing. So you worked at Ultimate Karting just down the road as your first real job?
Yeah, so I started packing shelves at the comedy shop, really, and like just going in after school from like 4 to 7 and putting all the Cokes back in the fridge, for the Powerades in the fridge, and like I love Debbie and George there, but that wasn't for me. That life wasn't for me. So then Mum, Dad were like, we'll get your job at Ultimate Karting Sydney, maybe try that. I'm like, like I was passionate about racing because I always used to watch Bathurst and stuff with my dad, and like, but I wasn't sure I was that passionate yet. And then I went down, and Garth Muller and Christian Muller used to own the place, and they were probably the best bosses you could have. Like, and basically from there on, I was just driving from 14 to 18. I was just driving carts all the time while I was working there. Like, you just get in a cart, drive it out of the pits, or there's a car that's broken, you drive it around. Like, and then that's sort of how the bug come about. And then I met my best mate now, Cameron Crick, there, and then we were working together all the time, just doing our job and driving carts, So when you're driving all the time, obviously you're going to get a passion. But like, if you're doing anything all the time, you're going to get a passion for it. So from there, it just went one step to another, really.
I love that. Like, I mean, I remember my first job was like 14 years old and home quarters in Camden, who I've got so much respect for out there. I used to work out the back, just putting cardboard away and cleaning the shelves, which as a 14, 15-year-old, you don't expect much. You just want something to start your business sort of mindset. But the fact that you got to drive karts as like a pretty cool job, I think that's a good start, and I can see why you found a love for karting.
I don't think it even counted as work sometimes. Like, you're going to hang out with your best mates, you're going to drive karts all the time, and like the people that you're working for, like the bosses, they were great bosses. Like you you get the hard ass bosses. These guys, they knew what needed to be done, and if it was getting done, they were happy.
Cool.
And we were always super busy there, so it was a good bunch of guys. It really was good.
So talk to me about how your love for karting. I know you worked at Ultimate Karting, but you sort of became efficient in the go-karting series. Is that correct?
Yeah. So when I was the age of 15, so we got into this series that my dad and his mate were racing it at the time, and that's the 4-stroke endurance series in New South Wales. And I was like, we'll go and have a crack. So Dad put a team together. It was me, Dad, and my mate Cameron Crick, and there were 6-hour races. So like it was like proper endurance racing. So you do like an hour stint, then I get out, then Dad and Cameron have a go, then I do another hour stint, and there's like pit stops and strategies that all come into place. And I remember the first year, Dad's like, listen, boys, like it's your first year. I hope we'll just be happy with the top 10, and we actually won the championship that year.
Wow!
And then from there on, I was like, all right, let's see how we can go. And we won the championship again the year after. Then we had a few like I think we were
up
third
and
or
down
fourth
seasons,
in the next couple of seasons. And then we won it again in 2022. But racing karts was so much fun. Like it was just you're going away with your dad and your best mates. You're going away for a weekend. You're racing like all over New South Wales, like Dubbo, Orange, like. The closest one for us was Eastern Creek, and then everywhere else was just everywhere else in New South Wales.
I remember like looking at a lot of like your Instagram, your social media, and every time driving past your house to get to mine, you always see the cart like trailer and stuff. You don't have it anymore, do you?
Oh, we still have it. We still do a few rounds here and there. Like we've done a few. I think we've done 2 or 3 this year, but it's just hard, like because obviously Cameron's racing now as well, and then like. I'm racing, and Dad needs to get the time together. But then again, a couple of weeks ago, my sister actually they put a tee for my sister.
Wow, okay.
And I doubted her pretty hard. Like,
as you do.
Yeah, like I was like telling her in the way, I was like, listen, like don't go with too many expectations. Like it's not as easy. Like, because she's pretty good at ultimate karting as well. She drives all the time. Yeah. I was like, it's not as easy as that. Like it's gonna, but she was actually pretty good. Like I was doubting her, but I was very humbled when I was like, you did really well, Blaze. Like. Good on her, really. So I think they're going to do a few more.
Is that something she wants to sort of go into, karting?
Yeah, well, I think now, because it's such a family thing. So, like,
of course.
It's such a massive thing, what I'm doing. So then my parents are so heavily involved. Obviously, my sister's going to be involved. So everyone's got a passion for racing. Like, I remember, there was something on this year. I wasn't racing there, but I think we had some family friends racing there. And my sister and my mum were texting the group chat about all this racing. And I replied saying, I never thought I would see the day that you guys would be texting about racing.
Wow.
It's pretty cool, really.
Because obviously, your mum and dad are always your biggest supporters. I mean, for any kid out there, like in whatever you want to do. And I guess it's pretty cool to see a passion. And I mean, seeing your dad growing up, or I mean, when you're growing up, seeing your dad sort of have a love for that, that's, I guess, where a lot of it starts. Because you see your dad do it. And you want to do it. It's like you look at Max Verstappen, his dad was a great Formula One driver, and he just happened to get the right genes.
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess that's super important. Like, it's a dangerous sport, and you've got to really be okay with the fact that I guess you could have accidents. It could be pretty bad, So
I haven't obviously seen Mum when I'm on track, but I've heard she paces a lot. Like
of course,
walking up and down. But I think anyone would be, really.
So talk to me about like a day in the life. You're getting ready for your race days. You see a lot of media stuff get done. Is that normal in Australia, or because you're in a junior sort of cup competition or whatever, it's not as big as say the supercars? Or
what do you mean?
So like if you've got a media day, you've got an interview from like journalists or anything. Do you get many of that? No,
because basically the supercars are the top category, and then like we're a support category to the junior category. Like we all get media done, like for example, the Toyota 86 series have their own media people. They come and interview you, and like the Aussie Racing Car series, they interview you. Like they'll come and talk, and they'll put it on their pages and stuff. Yeah. But it's not like like the Formula One drivers or Supercar. They've got like a media day, and they'll go and do. Like you still have like sponsor events and stuff with your sponsors, and like you'll do stuff with them one-on-one or all together. but you won't have like a dedicated day, like
Right,
a couple of days out from the meeting saying like, this is what
you have to say.
Yeah,
Do you ever do you want a PR next year? Do you want to say, hey, Geordie, you can't say this?
No,
no,
I don't want that. No.
You don't want that.
No, never. No.
That's interesting to hear, because I guess like media's like, it's about building a brand, right?
Yeah.
You're building a brand for yourself, and I love your Instagram feed. Like,
That's a credit to mum as well. So like when I'm doing my emails and my Instagram post,
it's not you, is it?
No, I do it. So I write it all up, and mum just like vetoes it. So like if I've had a bad race, like I want to put something negative on there, because like you'll say what happened, like not negative, but you'll say what's happened, and mum just like, no, you're not putting that up.
No.
Like that's. Which is it's true. Like you don't want to have something negative, because if I've got a potential sponsor or supporter looking at that, then I'm being negative. That's never going to get me anywhere. Yeah,
and I think that's super exciting. Like to have someone like your mum. I think mums are the best. You know? Like even with my podcast, I remember mum was up here helping me set up my room and sort of getting it done. And she shares everything. She goes, James, I've got to make sure like your cover photo is great and everything. Good, I think it's good, and I think at the end of the day, you're building a brand, and like you said, you're dealing with a lot of sponsors who may necessarily go, well, I like Jordan Freestone, but if he's a bit more negative, or I don't want my brand to sort of be
correct
around that.
And obviously it makes it easy as well. If your parents, like especially my mum and my dad, like if they're involved and like they're passionate about what you're doing, everything's like a lot easier. Like for example, your mum's really passionate about your podcast, and it makes everything so much easier. Like otherwise, 100%. It feels like you're fighting the world by yourself.
Well, that's it.
You've got 2 or 3 people in your corner.
You can take on the world. What do they say? You only need 3 close people to take over the world, I guess, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your very first race. We'll start in karting, because I guess that's where you sort of went. You mentioned that your dad and your best mate Cameron and yourself put together a team. What was the experience like? Is it very different to what it is now?
Yeah, so obviously I was so young, and I had no idea. And I remember it was the start of the race, and I think we qualified 3rd or 4th, and Dad's like, no, boys, you're not starting the race. I need to start this race.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever. I was like, I need to start this race. I'm like, okay, mate, like you can start the race. Lap 1, he throws it off the road and drops the chain. I remember I'm just sitting in the pits looking at Kevin like, oh, this is great. So I think we finished that day nowhere.
Yeah.
But then I think a few races later, 3 or 4 races later, I got to start my first ever race, because in endurance racing, it's never about like going like to the front straight away. You never want to be damaging
it's
at the
how
start
you
of the race.
end, right?
And obviously, because that was my first ever race, Dad'd be like, I don't want you to start it because you think I'd write the card off. You know what I mean?
Let alone he did it himself.
Yeah. So I think I started my first ever race in Newcastle, in like race 3 or 4 of championship. And then just from there on, I was just like, yeah, this is sick. Like, this is really
I love that. Did you have like a set order of who would start, who would sort of be in the middle, who would bring it home?
Yeah, so it was always a strategy from there. And I'd start, Dad would go second, and then Cameron would be the 3rd stint. That would be like your 2-hour mark, and then
okay. So is it hour per like sort of stint?
It'd be like 45, depending on what's going on. But that Cameron would always finish the race. So like I'd always start, then Cameron would always finish, and then it seemed to work well for us. So we just kept going like that.
Do you have to like? I mean, I'm talking like Formula One here, but like, are you changing tires and everything? So there's none of that stuff.
You fill up. So every 2 hours you fill the cart up.
Yeah, of course.
But like you don't do any like tire change and stuff. So by the 6th hour, the tires are pretty shagged. But everyone's on the same tire, so it doesn't really matter. It's like someone's on a green tire and everyone else is on 6-hour old tires.
No, I love that. I think that's pretty cool. And like, do you ever like? Because in the pit, you come in. Let's say you're winning the race. You come in and there's a couple of carts behind you. You need that fill up time for your fuel to be pretty quick, eh?
So what they've done, which is pretty good, it didn't used to be like, it used to be get in and quick as out. Get in and out as quick as possible. Yep. But like now it's a time pit stop. So it's like, it depends where you go. Sometimes it's 60 seconds, sometimes it's 90 seconds.
Right.
So like, because before like, we were coming in and getting out so fast. And that's what probably helped us in 2015, 2016, that our pit stops are always pretty quick. Because I'm so light, I was sitting on like 30 kilos of weight. So like, it looked like a booster seat in the go-kart, because obviously Dad and Cameron are a lot bigger and heavier than me.
Yeah, of course.
So I have to sit on this seat, and then I come in, undo the belt on the seat. So I didn't have seat belts, so it's just the belts to hold the seat in, get out, and then someone would drive out. And that always was really quick for us. And then now it's just a lot slower process, because which is safer, because people will just falling over in the pits or like
Yeah.
just doing whatever they can to get out of the pit. So
And I think safety is so important, especially in cars like that. One little mistake from the fueling up or, one little misstep and your cart's on fire, I guess.
Yeah.
What was your feeling going into karting from ultimate karting where you're just driving around, having a bit of fun for work to getting into your very first race? You mentioned your dad drove the car off it. Were you nervous?
He's going to hate me for that.
He's going to hate you. Mr. Freestone, I'm sorry. I just have to bring it up. Were you nervous? Like, was mum nervous? I think I should be asking.
Oh, I don't really know because mum didn't really come to a lot of karting. I think she might have been there, but I was shitting myself. I'll be honest. Like, I was scared, but like, it was that long ago. Like, I don't really know if I was like a heap scared, but I think once, but then again, maybe because I was so young, I didn't really realize what was actually going on.
Yeah.
Like, I just would have been like, oh, I'm just driving a go-kart. Like,
And I get that's the thing. It's like you look at it like the youth. When you're so young, you're fearless.
Yeah, like I probably didn't even realize what I was doing. Like, oh, okay, I'm just going out driving a go-kart.
No, I love that. That's pretty sick. So you done a few years in karting.
Yeah.
Did it cross your mind that you wanted to stay in open air karts and potentially push into Formula E or Formula 3 and maybe work your way up, or you weren't really sort of in that mindset?
I wasn't really sure because I think I was in my HSC year, so 2018, I wanted to race cars, and mum and dad always told me like, you're not going to be able to do it, you're not going to do it. I'm like, mum, I want to do it. And then like, all right, finish your HSC, then you can do it the year after. I'm like, sweet, finish your HSC. But then like, I just sort of didn't really have everything lined up. Like by the time I went to schoolies and stuff, and then come back, like I didn't really put anything together. Like probably on my fault, I didn't put it together.
Yeah.
And then end of sort of, it would have been 2022 or and like midway to 2022, I'm like, I want to do this car thing. Mum did it like, you can do it, but you're going to have to go and find all the sponsors yourself. Okay. And I'm like, I was like, I can do it. Now, they didn't doubt me, but they just said like, if you want to do it, you've got to you got to work for it. And then I put it like a few deals together, and the one deal led to another deal and led to another deal. I'm like, I think we can do this. And then it just went from there really. And I was like, yeah, let's go.
I love that. Like, you put a lot of responsibility on yourself, and I think that's super important. I think if stuff like this, especially racing, it's not like you can get you can get a helping hand.
Yeah,
but
mum and dad are helping a lot more this year than they were last year. Yeah. But for my first year last year, they said to me, if you want to do it, you need to do it yourself.
I want to see your commitment.
Yeah, like you need to just go and commit. Otherwise, don't worry about it.
What's the point? Yeah, and especially because it's the fear factor, I guess, for them, because now you're going into a car, you're going 100 plus kilometers around a bend or whatever it looks like, and one wrong angle turn and your car's on the other side. And I think that's where it is, because it's like when I played rugby league, going back to Origin, like I remember seeing Mo Fodawaker last night. Queensland just took a penalty goal. He's running off the back fence.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that, bro. That's crazy.
No fear.
That's like actually off the back
100%. Like, and that's what I mean. Like, for me, it was like, I knew that I'm playing a contact sport. I've got to run. I've got no fear. I've just got to run in. Yeah. If I get injured, I get injured, And how many times do you see me with a broken hand,
I know, bro.
But it's sort of that thing of like, if you go in, and you tell me, like, the fear factor, if you go in with a slight bit of fear, you have an off day, right?
Well, everyone's always asked, I've always get asked, like, are you scared? And like, to be honest, no. Like, obviously when you're sitting on the dummy grid to go out on the track, you're nervous, but if you're not nervous, you don't care. Like, you've got to be nervous, like, you want to do well. Like, it's not nervous about what's going to happen, you just want to do well. Like,
yes.
You want to get out there and nail it. But like, I wouldn't say I'm scared. Like, if I was scared of going fast or doing what I'm doing, you wouldn't be doing it. Like,
yeah, okay.
Obviously the nerves, like you always like have to get a little bit of butterflies when you're getting in the car, because like you just know how like competitive and how hard, like good you want to go. You know what I mean? But just you're definitely not scared. No, wouldn't say I'm scared at all.
No, I love that. Now, what's sort of the next step? So you're in your Toyota sort of 86 series. How was that for you?
So we had our first round last weekend at Townsville, and I wasn't like happy with my results at all. Like I think we left the weekend 15th, which wasn't.
How many races? Like how many people in the race?
There's 32 in the category.
Yeah, okay.
So which is not like good enough. It's like we done a bit of testing this year. Like I made a mistake in qualifying, and then we just didn't really capitalise in the races because there was a lot of safety cars and that said it couldn't really come forward. So I need to go. I got this weekend. I'm in Sydney, so that's the plan. I need to go good this weekend, which we should. And then the Aussie racing cars. I think we've had. I think it's 4 or 5 rounds. I'm gonna say. No, we've had 4 rounds.
Yeah.
And I think we're 10th overall, which is pretty. I'm pretty happy with that at the moment.
Okay.
Like it's our first year in that category. It's a pretty competitive category. There was 40 cars at Townsville, and we were passing cars every race. Like
Are they a lot harder to drive than your 86s?
They're completely different from car to car. So like I said, so the Aussie car, for example, has no power steering, your left foot brake, and it's no ABS brakes. It's just it's a sequential gearbox, and you change your right hand. The 86 is like power steering, ABS braking, H pattern on the left hand side. Yeah. So it's completely. But then the Aussie car's got massive amounts of downforce. Yeah. The 86 has got nothing. Like you see on boards, and people are always like working the wheel and like not working the wheel, but they're always a little bit.
They're fighting it or whatever.
Yeah. But the Aussie cars are a lot more planted, and you can just it's like very different cars to drive, but they're both so enjoyable. Like when you get them both right, they're very enjoyable.
That's sick. And why Aussie Racing Car Series? Like what made you want to do the jump?
So this is a bit of a funny one, but so at the end of last year, we had a bit of a tough rookie year. Like what could go wrong went wrong. Like from being taken out to car issues to some of my own mistakes as well. Like there was a lot of stuff that went on. It's being a rookie year, and down the coast, my grandparents live, and we have these family friends called the Corishes and Les Corey specifically. Yeah, wow. And we're in contact with him, and he's like, "Come and drive my Aussie racing car." I'm like, "Oh," I was like, "It might be hard doing the 86 as well." And he goes, "No, come and drive it." And we did a test day, and we're like, "These things are pretty cool." Yeah. And then we put a deal together with them, and then from there on, and then my other mate Mason Harvey's now racing with them from Perth, and we were mates last year at the racing, and it's pretty cool. Like their whole team it's a massive family vibe team. Like you get all different types of vibes and teams. It's just like
this one clicks.
Yeah, it's a massive family vibe. Like mum and dad are always involved. Then my uncle Craig and my other family friend Matt is pretty heavily involved in the Aussie Race Car and the 86 series as well. Like so dad's pretty more on the 86 series, but like yeah, it's just a massive family vibe there, and it's pretty cool. Like it's
that's exciting. I think that's cool to know. And obviously you went from your mindset was just like, nah, I just need to stay in the 86. That's where I'm comfortable.
Exactly, yeah.
And I guess you came out of your comfort zone, and that's super. That's what you want.
Yeah,
you know?
they're honestly the coolest cars to drive. They're so much fun.
That's mad. Talk to me about your first race in an 86. In the 86 car, the Toyota 86.
Yeah, that would have been at Eastern Creek last year. It would have been like the middle of April, I think. Yeah, it was the middle of April, and I think we qualified like 15th or something. And this is my first ever car race. So a lot of the time, like you come to the state series, like you'll do like XLs or something. But I was like, we're going to go and do 86s. And then I remember we started the race, and we got down to turn 2. And the braking zone, I've just got on the brakes and just taken my normal racing line, and there's been like 5 and 6 cars just go whoom, whoom, like straight past me. I'm like, Jesus Christ! Wow. Like, now we're playing with the big boys, like because a lot of these guys that we're racing like the best in Australia. So like, I was just so like gobsmacked. I'm like, Jesus, like this is like you're gonna earn your keep here. So from then on, you sort of like you learn to cover your line more, and like it's just all a learning process. But at the time, before I was going out, I was shitting myself.
How important is the racing line, especially in the 86 series?
Oh, like it's massive. Like obviously, there's always a one line. Like you would know yourself. There's one line you got, like the race line you got to take. But at the start of the race, you need to be like blocking as hard as you can. Which I
there's no like illegalness to do that, like blocking off people from passing.
Oh, there is, but like at the start of the race, like you're trying to cover any space you can. Like,
of course.
And at that time, I had no idea what I was doing. Like, I put my hand up, I was clueless, and I just remember there was just cars just going either side of me, and I was just like, what's going on? Like, I was like a deer in headlights, really. What's going on here? But now, like, as you do more and more race starts, more like driving different things, like, now at the start of the race, I'm so much more comfortable. Like,
good.
You can just put the car wherever, and it's just whatever.
How quick's your head when it comes to all 4 lights coming on and then bang, you got to go? Because a split second can have you going from...
My reaction time is pretty good usually. Like at the start of last year, I was struggling to get my 86 up the line, just wasn't getting it all together. But now, like my reaction time is always pretty good. it's always been good. Like I played a lot of Voz tag and that's
Yeah.
like reaction times. Like,
Nah.
it's good. So
What's a good reaction time? Like you look at people doing videos and it's like 0.00001 or whatever. But
I don't know. I don't know exactly what it'd be, but
Okay.
you have on the data like 0 to 100 and
Oh,
stuff.
so you can see
like,
the reaction
like
time.
from the launch and stuff. So I think in the towns on the weekend, the 0 to 100 was like 6 seconds or something.
That's pretty good.
But like I think when we like that was the best or something, and I think we were like 6.2, which is like
Not too bad.
yeah, but 0.2 is a massive. It's
Yeah.
still a lot, but it's still not that bad. It's pretty good.
Last year, there's a big sort of someone close to you,
Yeah,
and the memory you done for him on your car. We don't want to go into too much
Oh,
details.
yeah, no, that's fine. We can. Yeah.
But a close mate of yours passed away.
Yeah.
Firstly, how do you what was your sort of reaction to hearing about it? And I guess to see the memoir you did for him on the car was really beautiful.
Yeah. So I'm not going to go into too much details about it, obviously, but like it was pretty like full on at the time. Like it's never been in part of something, anything like that. Like me and all my mates went through a bit of a hard time, but like I remember it wasn't long before my first round, and I'm like, geez, this is like it would have been a couple of weeks if that.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, it was a couple of weeks. I'm like, this is like your whole like you think like your whole world just turned upside down. Like I'm like, wow, okay. So then it was just like, well, like what would he have done?
Yeah.
So then I was like we just got to keep getting on with life, keep going and keep moving forward. And then I was like, I'm going to put something for him on my car because like, I'm in the position I can do something like that. Of course I'm going to do it. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Like anyone else would do it. So of course I'm going to do that. And it was pretty special. And he looked over me and he still does look over me.
Yeah.
So.
I think, I think that's the scary thing is that you could be having a great life.
Yeah.
Being around friends and family and then something dramatically happens. And, I guess it's hard to understand, and I guess that's why it's important for people to, if you're, to reach out to people and speak to people.
100%. Yeah, exactly right. You always got to check in on your mates, and it's always people you don't expect, really.
Yeah,
like,
I know it's crazy.
Yeah, it's always people you did not expect.
And I think that's the sad thing. Is like I think it's like even like Robin Williams, greatest actor of all. I think is one of the greatest actors of all time. Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
Always walked around with a smile on his face.
Yeah.
And on the outside, he looked so happy.
On the inside,
and then inside, and I think it's just important to check in on people
100%.
And whether you speak to them once a day or once every couple of months or whatever. I think always check in.
100%.
So I think seeing that memory you did for him on the car was beautiful, and I'll try and put it up on the video when I do it, or if you head over to Jordan Freestone Racing.
Oh, Jordan Freestone _ on Instagram, or Jordan Freestone Racing on Facebook.
You'll see it pinned on one of his on one of his posts.
Yeah.
What was the reaction from, I guess, the family and friends when you done that?
Yeah, it was pretty special. Like everyone was like not loving it, but like I don't know what word you could say for it. But like
wholesome.
Yeah, everyone thought it was pretty special, and like it brought a tear to everyone's eye.
Yeah.
Everyone was like a tear of like happiness as well. Like,
of course.
Just like not happiness, but like I'm not very good at that.
But
you know what I mean?
I know what you're saying. Like it was sort of.
It was special.
It was a thank you for continuing to keep my son or my best mate alive.
Yeah.
And that legacy, and I think that's really special.
Yeah. No, it was pretty crazy. I remember it all happened. It was like a week before my season launch, and then like it was 2 weeks before my first race. I'm like, whoa, this is crazy.
Yeah. Man. How was it a heavy day going into that race, knowing that you've just done that, and then?
Yeah, like I remember, so we had a test, I think, a bit after, and I was just like a bit like shocked, but then you got to sort of
put that aside.
You got to just put it, like just switch off from everything else and just focus on what you're doing, because there's a lot going on when you're there. So like obviously it was still always in the back of my mind, but you just got to like try and switch off and just keep moving forward. Really. Yeah.
No, that's so cool. You've brought your helmet in today.
Yeah.
Put up to the camera. Show the camera.
So we got the front. So it's been talking through it.
Yeah, talk me through them.
So just a bit of a cool design. So my mate at Six Star usually does all my helmets. He always does something cool. So I've got all my major sponsors on the front. So Waratah Supplies, Prax Australia, Bordeaux Homes, and then Driving Solutions. And then on the back we've got something a bit different. So it's
I love that.
Donnie from the Wild Thornberries.
Yeah.
Because I'll get Esty put a link up, but he talks really fast. So
That's how you talk, isn't it?
So when I'm excited, I just talk really fast and I mumble and stuff. So that's probably me to a T. So I'm like, I may as well put on the helmet, something different.
I love it.
But yeah, I got the sparkle and stuff, which makes it in the sun and pops off. So
Yeah. You like distracting your drivers, don't you?
Oh, I wish they could see it, but they can't. But no, she's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of the new helmet. So.
Does the number have any representation for you? Number 8?
I've just always had it in karting and just tried
to
to
take it through for you.
Yeah, once you get a number, you sort of try and always keep it, really.
Do you have like your radio and stuff in the headset?
Yeah.
Like
so
it's all in the head.
So that's what this is. So this plugs into like the steering wheel.
Yeah.
And then there's a little thing here and that goes out of there into my ears.
Okay.
So there's someone in pit lane that talks to you like when you're out on track. So
Yeah,
it's not
cool.
to listen to music and stuff.
No.
It's actually people to actually talk to you and like give you. You don't really talk a whole lot.
No.
But like,
Does it get distracting?
Not really, because you don't talk a lot. Like you
Okay.
just talk every now and like they'll just talk to you every now and then, but you don't really talk a lot.
I think Max Verstappen's so good for this, or Louis Hamilton as well. And I guess I'm going in. He's the GOAT, you know. And I love like you hear the commentary and it's like, all right, Lewis, it's hammer time now and stuff like that. Do you ever have like little quotes that your team will sort of say to you, it's go time, Geordie?
No, if I do like a move or something that I'm pretty, I always just say let's fucking go.
Yeah,
like,
cool.
If that, it's just like
Yeah.
it's just.
Okay, so it's more or less like, all right, we're pitting now, come in.
You don't
type
really.
thing.
So my races you don't pit, so it's just sprint races, but it's more like saying qualifying, like you're this position, and you're this far off that. Like,
okay, so how fast you need to go.
Yeah, you need to gain here. Or like in the race, like so Cameron last year was on my radio a lot, which has worked really well because we know each other. Yeah. And he'd say he could at Eastern Creek, for example, you can stand on the roof and you can watch parts of the track.
Yeah. Okay.
And he'd just say, "You got him. Let's go. You can go. All right, don't even look in the mirror. Let's get the next one."
Yeah.
Like he was really good on the radio for me because we didn't talk a lot. He would just say to me, "All right, you need to do this, you need to do that," and then he'd do it's more like a mental coach sometimes as well. Like he's like, "You can do it. You've got him. All right, stay there. Let's go. Move on."
How important has Cameron Creek been for you?
Instrumental. So obviously as we were mates when we were growing up, he started in the 86 series as well. Yeah. So I was going to all the rounds with him. I remember because me and his younger sister Tani, do you know Tani?
Yeah.
You would know Tani?
Yeah.
Me and her are best mates as well. So we were always hanging out at the track while Cameron was there. So then like Cameron's brought me up through and he showed me like all the stuff and then like he's given me the contacts I needed to and then like he'll just check in and say like, how you going with this, how you going with that. And I remember for my first ever race last year he messaged me and saying, right, I made it to race week, eat good this week, do this, do that, like, which is good. And like even now at the track, he'll come over and like say like, what's going on? What are you doing here? Because he can't go on my radio as much anymore because he's in
V8s now.
He does Super 2, Super Utes, and he's got a co-drive now. So like he race at Bathurst and Sandown this year as a co-driver, which is pretty phenomenal. So,
yeah, that's mental.
So he still like gets time to come and like he come and checks on me. So it's pretty cool. Like I'm pretty lucky that I've got someone.
It's like an older brother in the industry.
And he's done it all. Like he's been through all the categories, so he knows exactly what needs to go on. And like he's driven my car a few times and given me reference laps. And so it's pretty cool.
Do you sort of see him as a platform for what you want to do, or do you sort of go, I like what he does, but I still want to do my own thing?
Yeah, I want to do my own thing. So Cameron's like my best mate. I love him, but I want to do my own thing. I love supercars, but I want to go down the Porsche like avenue, like so many ways.
Talk to me about that.
Oh man, I love watching the Porsche Carrera Cup races. Like they're the best races to watch. Like
they're nice cars.
The cars are sick, and the competition's so close. Like there's some of the best drivers in Australia in that category. And there's like, for example, this weekend Garth Tander's racing the Carrera Cup Series. Yeah. And there's like Harry Jones in it at the moment. He's been all over Europe and he's back in Australia at the moment. And then one of my other good mates, Jackson Walls, he's come second in the series last year. Wow. And he's second at the moment. And I hope he wins this weekend because he's also one of my really good mates. Like,
yeah, nice.
So it's good to see your mates do well.
With the Porsche Carrera Cup Series, it's not just Australian, it's worldwide, right?
So there's Carrera Cup Series everywhere. So there's Asia, there's Germany, there's...
Getting involved with the Carrera Cup can broaden it a lot wider for you.
If you're good enough, like you've got to be good enough.
Of course.
You've got to be performing as good in Australia to get a co-op over there. So you just sort of take one step at a time. So focus on doing well in the GR Cup at the moment and then just hopefully progress from there and just Yeah.
Do you have to be asked, hey, Jordan, can you come race for us at Porsche? Or can you sort of put your hand up and
You can
just
sort
grab?
of, if you can raise the budget and put your hand up, you can go.
Oh, so you can just, if you raise the budget, you can go, oh, I've got a Porsche Carrera Cup.
Nah,
No?
so you got. There's a couple of things like you got to raise the budget, obviously.
Yep.
But your results got to be good enough. Like, so
Okay.
if you're not doing well, they're not going to say, right, I come and drive. Like, come and drive for us. Like, you got to sort of talk to people and you got to get in first, like with a team, and then just if you got the budget and the results, yeah, you're good to go. But it's just.
Yeah,
you
right.
can't just have the budget and be running around in 28, 29 for like, right, let's go.
No.
You're going to write the car off. Like,
Yeah.
And they're like 400, 500 grand.
It's crazy.
Cars,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
That's pretty sick. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I remember I was doing an event for I work, as you know, working C91, and
Yeah.
I remember we had like an event for I think it was one of their major sponsors for this driver, and he drives the Carrera Cup, the Porsche Carrera. I remember getting in there and I'm looking at it, I'm like,
crazy,
inside it's so different.
Yeah.
Like it's not like a normal car, you
Yeah.
know, like it's so nice. It's crisp. They sound amazing. They're probably just as quick, probably a lot quicker than the 86s, right?
Yeah, way quicker.
Yeah.
Like so they're nearly as quick as the supercars. Like some trucks they'll do the same lap time, if not just a little bit off. I'm like, they're the coolest cars, man.
Yeah.
They are just, and they're so sick. They're the racing so good in them as well. Like,
Yeah.
it's just mega.
Nah, I love that. With your supercar series and doing your junior series, talk to me about, you know, you've won, you know, you made the step from karting, being a part of the Toyota 86, you're running in the GR Cup and Aussie Racing Series. You're classified as a rookie this year as well, even though you were last year. How does that sort of...
So that's good. It's the Aussie Car Series. So because I'm in the GR Cup Series,
You're not a rookie?
because everyone is a rookie basically.
Okay.
But the Aussie Car Series, there's like some pretty big names in, like Joel Heinrich's won the series like countless times. My good mate Cody Basinski, he's in it as well. So like I'm classified as rookie because like it's my first junior series. So it's hard. It's because I've done a year. It's weird, but because it's my first time in the series, that's why I'm classified as a rookie. Like, because there's all different types of drivers in that series. Like GR Cup's more for like the juniors coming up, you'd say, but then the Aussie Car is just a different type of series. That makes sense.
So it does. So you're classified as a rookie, as you said. You've been ranked the highest rookie a few times this year.
Yeah.
Currently 10th overall, and you're second overall in the rookies. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's my mate Mason Harvey. He's my teammate. He's beating me at the moment. But
how's it done? Is it like done off points or laps?
So where you finish and stuff.
Right, okay.
So like
standard.
I think he's won most of the rounds. Like there's been a few races that I've won, and it's pretty cool because me and him are such good mates.
Yeah.
And like we have so much banter all the time.
Yeah.
And like I got him into the series with the team, so it's pretty cool to see. And like, he's a Perth boy. So he was on the front row in Perth, which is pretty crazy for he had car issues, but yeah.
So like, even though you're racing against say 20 or 30 other cars or whatever it looks like, do they split them? Like, even though you might finish 10th, you might be the first rookie to cross the line. Correct. Is that how it works?
Yeah. So like, still we go in the overall championship.
Yep.
But like, say at the end of the meet, they'll say, right, so here's the overall. So even if for instance, I finished first in the rookies and then I finished first overall, I still get both trophies.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but it's just, there's an overall thing, and then there's like the rookies in it as well. And there's like the gold cuppers, which is like the middle-aged guys, and it's all different stuff.
Yeah, cool. Is it as competitive? Is it still a very competitive?
Yeah, it's super competitive.
Yeah.
Like it's anything you do now because it's national series, it's always going to be competitive at the front. Like I think the GR Cup's a little bit more competitive because it's a lot closer and everyone's just. But the Aussie cars are still super competitive. Like
nice.
It's like those guys at the front are super quick. Like you just watch them, like, oof, like
okay. As we sort of get towards the end of the interview, talk to me about your future. What do you want for Jordy Freestone? Where do you see? I know you sort of mentioned the Porsche Carrera series. But where do you see yourself? What do you want for yourself?
Look, I don't know. I'm just taking sort of 1 year at a time. I don't want to get ahead of myself, and I don't want to put too many like expectations on myself, and then you don't achieve them. But like, I want to get to the Carrera Cup series. Like, whether it's next year, the year after, the following year, I do want to get to that Carrera Cup series because it's been my goal since I started karting. So I do want to get. I'll make sure that I get to that. Like,
Yeah, I love
while,
that.
while my ass points to the ground, I'll be sitting in a car and doing a year.
I think that's the mindset you need.
Yeah.
I think when you want to be successful, it's like, I am going to be there.
Yeah, like while my ass points to the ground, I'll be in a car cup.
No, that's sick. How much weight are you losing in a car?
Oh, bro, it's because think about it. So it's like 50 degrees, and it's like at times we're doing 50 degrees inside the cabin, and then you got your fireproof pants, your fireproof socks, your fireproof boots, then a fireproof undershirt, and then the fireproof suit, and then like I get out of the car like
You're skinny as it is, so you're borderline anorexic, bro.
legit. So I get out of the car and like physically I feel fine.
Yeah.
But I look like I've got out of the bath. Like I am wringing. I take my shirt off, you can almost wring it out. Like
Nice.
So I don't know how much you lose, but like you definitely lose a fair bit, especially at Townsville. I was getting out of the 86. So getting out of the Aussie car and getting straight in the 86 and driving out the pits because I was double duty weekend.
Yeah, okay.
So I think I lost like 3 kilos that weekend, like just from the amount of sweat. And like you put it all back in, but like my issue is I can drop weight really fast, but I can put it back on really quick as well.
Okay,
so I can put it back on in a couple of days. But like you lose a fair bit of like water weight. Like the water weight is.
Do you have water when you're driving?
No.
So there's no chance for you to have.
You get out and you have a drink. It's not too bad. Like you don't get. It's weird. Like you don't really notice how hot it is in the car until
you finish.
Yeah, you're finishing. You're on the cool down lap and you're like, shit, it's quite hot in here. But like when you're out there and everything's going on, you're like, you don't even know. Like you don't even know it's hot.
You're more focused on who's behind you, who's in front of you.
What's going on, because everything's going on so fast. You don't have time to think about how hot it is. But as soon as they're like, all right, mate, just cool it off, bring it in.
Yeah.
It's like, whew, yeah, okay, I'm cooking it in.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. No, I love it. And I think it's so funny because you compare it to like Formula One or, you know, your big series across like even the Dakar rallies and all that. Yeah. I mean, you know, very different sports, but or racing anyway. But you think about like, you know, you see them coming out of their Formula One cars and they're talking about how they lost 5 to 10 kilos.
Yeah, because just water weight, man. It's like the amount you sweat is ridiculous.
So will you drink a lot of water before you get in?
Yeah, I'm drinking all the time. Like you have like electrolytes and like hydrolytes and like, as much as you can to get it all back in. But then the problem is you're pissing all day because because you're drinking so much water, and like if you're not, say there's like 4 hours between races, you're going to the toilet
that much. Yeah. That's. Hey, what do they say? Drink at least 3 liters of water a day.
When you break the seal, man. Like,
can't help it.
You're in trouble after that, aren't you?
You do that on a night out, but don't you?
And you know, geez, my night's over. I do it at the track. I'm like,
no, it hasn't even started yet. Onto pee. What happens if you have to pee mid-race?
No, you just hold it. Like you're right. Like,
you don't let it out.
No, I've touched base. I've never had to, but you sort of like you always sort of go and talk before you get in the car. So like you should be fine, really.
Yeah, because how many laps are you roughly doing?
It depends on the circuit, but usually you'll get called to the dummy grid 15 minutes before, and the session will go for about 20 minutes. So like you're in the car for like half an hour.
So it's not, if you can't hold your pee for half an hour,
you've got
something wrong with you.
Then
check your bladder out. Go see your doctor.
Go to the doctors.
No, I love that. That's pretty sick. It's so funny. Like you realize like water's important for you.
Yeah.
But how much of the water compared to your diet? How's your diet going?
Like eating food?
Yeah.
It's hard. Like you
can't snack on Macca's, eh?
Yeah, I don't eat a lot of shit food, but then again, I get this. It's weird at night. I get this sweet tooth, and like
which is okay. That's normal.
It's always 8:30 at night. I've got to have a few lollies or I have an ice cream. Eat like at home. I'm pretty well fed by my parents. Like we always have like steak or having spaghetti. Like it's.
Are they requests by yourself or?
No, we're a pretty healthy household in that aspect. Like always have nice cooked meals. Like I've just been away for a week and a half or 2.5 weeks, whatever it's been. And I was saying to the boys yesterday in Brisbane, I was like, I just can't wait for a home cooked meal.
Right, okay.
Like,
so you're eating hotel food, are you?
Oh, well, you go like the pub, or like you have a schnitzel, like you'll go like
it's not the same, but
it's not the same as having a home cooked meal and just sitting at your own place, just having like a nice bit of meat or a nice bit of spaghetti. But
100%.
But we definitely get when we're away for work, we do a lot of work for Driving Solutions. James, he's mega. Like he makes sure we're well fed, we're well looked after. Like you could not complain about anything that goes on there, which is pretty cool.
So how important are your sponsors?
Oh, mate, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing without them.
Okay.
Like it's impossible to do what you're doing without them. So they're like without them you're screwed. So they're massively important.
Do they? And they obviously pay you a bit of a
Yes and no. So like not really. So basically, I do work for Driver Solutions. So it's and my other sponsor, the Darley Group. So
Yeah.
I'm a Sparky by trade. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a Sparky, and then
Yeah.
now we do a lot of driver coaching and driver events. So I was just away for a week and a half in Brisbane doing like. Have you heard of BF Goodrich? That's like a tyre brand.
Yes.
So it's like a tyre launch.
Yeah.
So they were doing all these tyre launches and it was off-road driving. So you just sit in the passenger seat.
Like people are driving.
Yeah. So it's like you do all different work because a lot of the time racing is not going to pay the bills. So but driving solutions works in well. Like you like next Wednesday I'm at the track doing a track day and like it's pretty good.
Is there a chance that, I know you mentioned driving is not always going to pay the bills. Is there a chance that it can?
It's hard in Australia. Like it's pretty like for example in supercars there's 24 drivers. Only like 12 of them are like don't have to bring like money to the table. Like the other 12 will be bringing money to the table when they make some money out of the sponsors.
Okay.
It's a pretty hard gig in Australia. It's not like Europe and like think about the footy. So I know a few like boys that are playing Jersey Flag.
Yeah.
They get 30 grand a year.
Yeah.
That's
nothing.
That's crazy. Can be like it's like with like car racing, you just got to sort of bring the money to get it going. Like it's a lot different to like your footy and your soccer and like.
Do you think that's where, like, I mean, I like to talk about this purely because when you think about it, it's like when you look at Australian sport, right?
Yeah.
And when you consider sporting in Australia, there's three. There's cricket, there's AFL, and there's rugby league.
Yeah.
Yes, you've got rugby union, but unless the Wallabies are playing, it's kind of a dying sport, which is sad.
Yeah,
you know. Oh no, that's all right. We'll fix it.
Sorry guys, just
a lot more editing to do. No, it's all right.
kicked it over.
Yeah, as I was saying, like with your editing, right? With the rugby union and dying a sport and all that kind of stuff.
Even like the A-League, man. Like the A-League, like that's...
Like soccer,
you can earn more money playing NPL1 and having a full-time job and trying to play A-League. Like,
I know. Do you think for racing, like Australia's not known as a racing country, right? Yes, you've got some of the two most successful drivers in the Formula One, Australian, Ricciardo, who killing season at Red Bull when he was coming up, and Oscar's doing really well. He's killing it. And, and then you've got, a couple of drivers racing over in the NASCAR series, which is super exciting. Yeah. But in Australia, the support's not the same, is it?
It's not. Look, you do still have your diehard fans. Like, I remember I was in Townsville 2 weeks ago and I was walking to the track at 6 a.m, like, because we were on early, and there's people waiting at the gates, and like, they're just going to get a spot on the hill. But like, which is what you need. You need those. You want those guys. So there still is like massive supports. Like at Eastern Creek this weekend, there'll be a huge turnout because it's night racing. Yeah, it's just not as like it's always on Foxtel and K, obviously, but it's not.
So your races are televised?
Yeah, it's always like all my races are on Foxtel and KO, Channel 7. Cool. So, but a lot of the time it's hard because people want to watch NRL at that time or AFL at that time. So, but it is you have your diehard fans, so it's still a pretty big. Like I wouldn't say it's dying, but it's still pretty big. Like besides those three, it's probably the biggest after that because A-League's.
It's sad, but isn't it?
A-League's no good.
It's sad.
Soccer's no good. And like.
As someone who played soccer, you growing up playing soccer, I mean, it's not like when you grow up, I want to play for Sydney FC. It's like you go in, you're playing rugby league, you're playing AFL. I want to be playing for Carlton. I want to be playing for Swans or Tigers.
Soccer, you wanted to go and play for Manchester United.
Correct.
Exactly.
And I think that's that's the sad part because you want that to all change,
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty it's crazy to think that, in Australia, you grow up, you're wanting to play sport, and unless you're playing one of the big threes, good luck trying. Yeah,
it's hard. But like, I'm still doing what I'm doing, which is pretty cool. Like a lot of people would kill to be in my shoes, and like I've raced around Bathurst a couple of times now. Like that's amazing. Like a lot of people overseas couldn't even have said they've done that. So like it's cool. It's mega.
I love that. I think it's super important. You get to do what you love and have fun.
Like, and I wouldn't change what I'm doing for the world. Like I'm loving it at the moment and loving life. Like it's good.
That's good. To wrap up, as we get to the end, I know I sort of said this a couple of minutes ago.
When are you going to come for a run with me? You're going to start.
Oh yeah, all right. This is a little funny story, Geordie. So as we know, we love our Strava. For anyone who is a runner, I've been doing Western Sydney Run Club. So I wake up, if you want to wake up 5 a.m. on a Friday morning.
I just did comedy run club.
Should start one.
Honestly.
Should get everyone around here.
Yeah.
So I'd go for a run and I'd see Geordie, he'd be doing 10 kilometers and like doing a couple. I said, oh, we'll go for a run. We'll do a couple of laps. And then I messaged him, yeah, this Friday works. This couple of months back. And then I'm like, oh, sorry, bro. I've got something on. I got to get some extra sleep. I'm finishing late.
I've heard 5 times he's going to come for a run with me. 5 times he's stubbed his toe in the morning.
Yeah, I know. Or I had a bit of a late night. But what you don't realise, what you can't see sitting down is the gym's actually my calling.
No, I said to Esty before, Esty's looking like, I haven't seen Esty in a while because obviously we went to school together. And like, Esty, you're looking pretty, I said to you before, bro, you're looking buff. Like, you're looking good. I was like, you've been working out? You're like, yeah, man, I work out all the time.
I think it's so funny, but like when you see yourself, when you go back and you think about it, because you're only a year below me at high school and it's crazy. To be honest, let's, a massive shout out to St. Greg's, eh?
Yeah.
What a, very blessed that we got to go there. We've got, when this podcast will drop, if you haven't heard, my very first guest, Josh Has a Party, has been just asked to run individually for the 100 meters, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
We've got a few players that have a few of the St. Greg's boys made their debut this year for West Tigers and Para and Heath Mason and
Charlie
Guymere, which is super exciting. So, I mean,
it's like a nursery, really.
It is a nursery, but it's not just rugby league. Everyone thinks it's rugby league, but there's so much talent out there. There's like, even education-wise, there's so many people doing so well with businesses and education, and they started at St. Greg's and, or went to St. Greg's for high school. So, as an old boy, I am very grateful that I got to go 100%. There and learned a lot. And
your mates that you make there as well, man. Like, you see now, like, pip boys that I know from other school, like, they're not as close mates as they are. Like, I've still got all my schoolmates. Like, I still hang out with them like at least once or twice a month. Like, it's obviously everyone's got stuff going on, so it's not like you're going to school from every day. But like, how old am we now? I graduated in 2018, so 6 years out. Yeah, and I've still got all my same schoolmates. Like, a lot of people from other schools wouldn't be able to say that, and you've still got all your same schoolmates. Like,
100%.
I know one of my other good mates, Daniel Slane. He's got all his schoolmates. Like, it's pretty cool.
It's nice. Like, I think. When you ask your parents, like I remember my dad was saying last night, like, there was no Facebook, there was no Instagram, there was nothing for our parents. So whenever they wanted to speak to their mates, they had to get on the dial-up phone.
Yeah, get the whole
pull
thing.
the brick out, the yellow pages,
get your suitcase out.
And I think it's crazy to think that, if they had their Facebook or Instagram back then, growing up, maybe you'd still be close. But it shows that, how a school can actually do that in a funny way.
It's like a brotherhood, bro. That's all it is. It's a
I remember graduating and you're walking out and you're crying. And
because I remember up to year 10, you're like, oh, school sucks. School sucks. But year 11 and 12, all of a sudden the teachers become your best mates. Yeah. And like, they're not there to parent you or like put you in your place anymore. Like, if you want to do well, they're going to be your good mates. 100%. And that's like, I still remember Mr. Bullock, man. He was
he's the best,
favorite teacher, hands down. Like, still friends with him, face, sees posts all the time at the Tigers.
He loves it,
and the referees and stuff. But like, he was just like one of my mates. Like, it was crazy how 100%. I wasn't that good at school. Like, besides my math, everything else, I think I got like a 78. I got shit.
But like, it's funny because when you see your teachers and I hold them to a high, right? I still have so much respect for them that when I see them in public. I say, hey, miss, hey, sir. Yeah. And the funniest thing is go, come on, James, you're 5-6 years out of school. You don't need to say that. It is. But I said, miss, like, sir, like, it's just what it is. It's what you taught me this. Yeah. This is the respect. And I think it's super important. And I guess you take what you've learned in a school like that into your full time.
It's just the morals at St. Greg's, man. It's just
100%.
You always hear like St. Greg's boys doing nice things, doing this and doing that. So it's a massive credit to St. Greg's.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, hopefully, I assume it's still the same now, even though those teachers come and gone and the headmasters have come and gone. I'm assuming it's still with the same morals and like. I remember when I was at school, had to wear shorts, had to have the high socks.
Yeah, loved to look like a posh, our posh boys school.
Couldn't have the fringe below the eyebrows, no hair wax.
No, so shout out, who are we shouting out? Mr. Vetrano. We love you. We love you, Mr. Vetrano.
Oh, man.
Definitely making a mention on the podcast. No, but I guess it just came down to, how you looked.
Yeah.
And I think it was so, and I remember the funniest thing is, I probably shouldn't say it. No, I'll say this. Dad would pick myself and Geordie up from school. My brother's name's Jordan.
Good name.
And, and I remember we all picked us up from the bus stop. We drove through Camden and some of the St. Greg's boys had their blazers off. And for people that don't know that, you actually had to make sure you're wearing your blazers all the way until you got home.
And just to throw something else in there, like, Essie's not bullshitting. Like, the headmaster was sometimes a teacher would just rock up in Camden at the bus stop and just wait for you to get off the bus. And if you got off not looking good, attention.
Yeah. Or here's some letters that you have to write notes or whatever. Anyway, I remember my dad's picked us up. He rolls down the windows and you can see it's the boys. The boys are sitting there seen with the group of girls from St. Pat's or whatever. And Dad rolls down and he goes, boys, Mr. Miller's coming around the corner. If you had seen how high they jumped to get that blazers on.
Yeah.
And you don't say it other than a way of saying that's how much respect people had for Mr. Miller.
Yeah.
And yes, principal, he's come and gone and, it's sort of changed, but the respect's still there. And I think that's super important.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
that's one thing I'm so grateful of going there. I've learned, yes, I learn a lot of respect from home and stuff. I got a great household, but you go there and, from day dot, they're telling you how important it is. And
to be a man.
100%.
Not to be a boy, to be a man.
So I think we're very blessed to be able to, and there's just so much positive things have come out of that school with talent and with sporting stars, with academic and all that. And yes, people might think it's a sporting school, but to be quite honest, and Mr. Miller was the driving force to turn it into an academic school as well. And, I know my grade, I think some of them, we had one of the highest amount of students sitting in the 90 plus ATARs, which is fantastic, you know. And look, I wasn't that high up there, would have loved to be, but
my HSC was a bit of a piss take, really.
Yeah. but if you knew what you wanted to do after, I don't think it matters.
It wasn't a piss take, but it was just like, I was there to enjoy my last year of school with my mates and just go to school.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Your focus in life, it's all racing now. It's, you've got your dreams. Tell me, how do you set your goals up? Do you go like, all right, this is where I want to be in 5 years? Because I sort of come back to, I listen to a lot of podcasts, Jay Shetty and Charles Leclerc's interview. And I always come back to it because I think it was super exciting and I think it stood out a lot. And Charles made a point saying that you could make a 5-year goal, but if you fail along the way, it doesn't really affect you, right?
Yeah.
But if you have a 6-month goal, it's a lot sooner than 5 years.
Yeah.
So if you fail, it affects you a lot more. And it's what can you, but what can you do to fix that?
Yeah.
And I think he said, I know where I want to be in 5 years and what I want to do, but what can I do right now? What can I set my goals to be to make sure that I can get to that point?
Well, that comes back to what I was saying before. Like, obviously I want to get to where I want to get to, but we need to do good at what we're doing now. Otherwise we're not going to get to there.
Yeah.
So we need to, my goal just basically is just what I'm doing. I need to be the best at what I'm doing, not looking too far down the track where I'm going to get too ahead of myself and it's just all going to turn to shit.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm just ticking things off as I go and just, if I do good, I do good. If not, I got to fix it there and then. Otherwise, your goals are going to be dead and gone, really. Yeah. So just not play it by ear, but I'm just, as we go, be the best as you can as you go. Otherwise, what's the point?
How important is mental health in this sport?
Oh, yeah, it's pretty crazy because it is a mental game. It's and you can easily get in people's heads. So it's massively if I'm doubting myself and doubting my own ability, I'm gonna go out there and be shit house. As simple as that. You got to get in the car and people have mind coaches and stuff just for this stuff because you need to be so positive and know that what you can do. You have the ability to do it. You've got there. You know you can do it. You just got to be in the right headspace and everything just needs to click from there on.
It's so important, right?
Yeah,
it's so important.
Yeah,
I think we'll go back to Origin just quickly. Angus Crichton, 12 months ago, checked himself into a mental ward or psych ward because he just wasn't comfortable, wasn't happy.
Yeah.
Last night he won Player of the Series.
Yeah,
which is just crazy. If you can keep, and everyone says they're fighting demons, and that's hard.
Yeah.
And if you can find a way to control it and just, I think it's all about a positive mindset, but it's easier said than done. Right?
100%. Everyone
easier
talks
said than
about
done.
this and that, but like, it's probably one of the hardest things to deal
It
with.
is. And you don't know what people are fighting. You don't know what people are going through. And as we mentioned earlier, when you had that memoir for your good mate, it was the fact that, you know, do you feel like I should have been there a little bit more for him or whatever? But you can't go and play those in your head.
Yeah,
It's just do as much as you can. Let them know that I'm always here for you. And look, it is what it is. It's
Yeah.
up to people how they take it. And I think it's important to know that, you know, that there are helplines out there, and
100%.
please don't forget that. You know, definitely don't want to finish on a sore note, but like, remember there are helplines out there. There are people out there that want to help you. So yeah, definitely think about that. Jordan Freestone. This episode's dropping next week or on the Monday, but
Let's go, Westy.
let's go. So when you are racing this weekend,
Yeah.
So good luck.
Thank you.
Bring it home.
It's a plan.
I'll have to come out and watch a race. Might do a live podcast from out there.
Come out. Come out.
I might come out. I'll see how I'm going. Will you get me pit lane?
Yeah, I'll get you in.
Get me in.
You message me and I'll sort
Yeah.
it
Well,
out.
all right. Beautiful. There you have it. I might do a little story from.
You might have
the
a guest
pit lane.
interview. I'll keep it the shoes on.
No.
James
No,
Esteban.
he's definitely. I love you. I love my
think
mate
he's
Cooper, but this mic doesn't come close to him. Where our stories won't make it onto Spotify. That's for sure.
Big life, baby.
Thank you so much for coming out.
All good.
I really appreciate it. Learning a lot about driving. It's a sport I love.
Yeah.
You know, not as much the Australian side of it, but I do love Formula One, and
Yeah.
you know, I'm kind of getting up every random hour or stay up to
11,
watch the
12,
race.
one,
Yeah. So
You
yeah,
know, it's boring sometimes. but
it's not that boring. They're racing around. Look, if anyone watched Silverstone on a
That
couple
was
of weeks
good.
ago,
That was
that
good.
is the pinnacle of Formula One racing.
That's the best race that's been in ages, but like sometimes, man.
No,
it's
it
just
is.
follow
Monaco,
the leader.
don't watch Monaco unless you just want to watch cars stay in the same position, or Checo Perez just come out of nowhere and just block people off. No. Or Hulkenberg or Rosberg.
Yeah.
You know, but it's good fun, and
Yeah.
good luck with it all. You're going to smash it. And when you get into the Porsche Cup Series, make sure you put a conversation with James as a sponsor, right?
100% on the side of the car.
The side of the car, my big curly head, eh?
Just a photo with James.
Thank you, everyone. Stay tuned. I've got a really cool episode coming up soon. I might even be dropping an individual episode, just having a bit of a chat with you guys. But thank you once again for everyone getting involved. Geordie,
Thanks,
thank you
guys.
so much.
Thanks,
and
Esty. Thank
peace
you.
out. You.
Thank you.